You can be amazing, you could turn a phrase into a weapon or a drug. You can be the outcast or be the backlash of somebody's lack of love. Or you can start speaking up. Nothing's gonna hurt you the way the words do when they settle beneath your skin. Kept on the inside and no sunlight, sometimes a shadow wins. But I wonder what would happen if you say what do you wanna say and let the words fall out. Honestly, I wanna see you be brave. What do you wanna say and let the words fall out. Honestly, I wanna see you be brave.
Everybody's been there, everybody's been stared down by the enemy, fallen for the fear and done some disappearing, bow down to the mighty. Don't run, just stop holding your tongue. Maybe there's a way out of the cage where you live. Maybe one of these days you can let the light in. Show me how big your brave is. What you wanna say and let the words fall out. Speak out.
And since your history of silence won't do you any good, did you think it would? Let your words be anything but empty. Why don't you tell them the truth? Say what you wanna say and let the words fall out. What you wanna say, I wanna see you be brave. What you wanna say
And let the
see you be brave. Honestly, be brave. Be I sat alone and watched TV. What a feeling can't be changed. As they say, a smile won't catch your eye. So goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Let us be loving. Let us be loving. Let us be loving. Let us be, let us be, let us be. The grass out there on the riverside, it don't have to grow. Out into this forest wide, you reap just what you sow. Lonely in the jungle deep, a smile won't catch your eye. So goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Let us be, let us be, let us be.
good evening, and thank you for joining us at the 12th Annual Spring Event for Beyond Differences, The Power of Belonging. We are so grateful that you are here with us, and while this has been a terrible year, the one blessing that I can think of from COVID is that we're all able to gather together from New York to Los Angeles, from Seattle to Nashville, Tennessee. All of our friends are with us this evening, so thank you for taking the time. You know, when Ace and I first started this organization back in 2010, people looked at us rather quizzically when we used the words social isolation. They said, "Do you mean bullying?" And we said, no, not bullying, social isolation. It's insidious, it's serious, it's harmful, even more harmful than bullying is to children. Why? Because you can't always see it. But children who go through this sense of disconnection and not feeling like they belong, it is harmful for them. And in fact, we now know from research and from anecdotal evidence that it is showing up in ways that are affecting children's mental and emotional well-being. Their academic success is floundering, and medically, kids are suffering from all kinds of medical consequences. But today, there's something that we have been doing about it, and that is we are partnering with over 8,500 schools in all 50 states. We're bringing our free social and emotional learning curriculum, our student leadership activities, and our popular national awareness days like No One Eats Alone. Our work is not done yet. And that is why we're so happy that you're here with us this evening, because tonight we are going to dig deeper. We're going to all learn a little bit more about social isolation. We're going to meet parents, teachers, and our youth leaders, and we're all going to come out the other end understanding what we can do as individuals against the backdrop of all the challenges we have to focus some of our time on helping to end social isolation. So now, let's make believe it's the first day of school and you're going back to 7th grade, or maybe you're in 7th grade, and you walk into your school and you're going to celebrate Know Your Classmates.
Some Portland area high school students are getting to know their classmates one-on-one. It's all part of a national program that encourages students to accept each other's differences. Today, Beverly Cleary's Fernwood campus brought together middle schoolers and high schoolers for Know Your Classmate Day. Students spoke about the challenges they face, like bullying.
Social isolation is one of the biggest issues in middle school at the moment, and so I think it's really important that for us to come into middle schools and teach kids about it, because if we're able to present social isolation, in many ways we could help save somebody's life in the future.
Very well-spoken kid there. Other initiatives include the No One Eats Alone and the Be Kind online classroom movements.
The players were off from practice today, and some of them spent time at Sutter Middle School in Winnetka with the goal of helping students learn the importance of creating healthy relationships with classmates.
It was fun because today's event was all about getting to know a couple new friends. So I made 4 new friends here at Sutter Middle School. So it was fun, and the kids were into it. Very important message. My challenge to the kids is, you be that friend. You be the kid that looks for somebody who needs somebody to come talk to them or is sitting alone. Go sit with the other guy that needs a friend.
Hi, I'm Carrie.
And I'm Lily.
And we are here to talk about Know Your Classmates, which is a really important program that we have here at Beyond Differences that we're really proud of. So Lily, how did it feel this year being home when you couldn't go to school?
I felt alone and I missed my friends.
You felt alone and missed your friends, but how did you feel when you went back to school?
I felt happy and I wanted to play with them.
You felt happy and wanted to play with them. And can you talk a little bit about some of the things that you do to get to know your friends when you're in school and get to know your other classmates?
I ask them questions and I read a book with them.
You ask them questions and read a book with them. These are just some of the things that are really important and part of this program that we are teaching our children today in terms of getting to know your classmates. And one of the reasons why I really like this program is because, and why I'm so passionate about Beyond Differences, is because, growing up, I grew up in Brooklyn, and the word social isolation and bullying didn't exist. Programs such as How Can We Teach Children to Get to Know Your Classmates kind of didn't exist back then in the 80s. So as a mom of 2 children, I feel great that there is an organization that is focused on this. And we are in 6,000, our programs are in over 6,000 schools across the US, and we would really, really help if you would be able to help us create more awareness and donate so that we can go deeper into our programs, especially for Know Your Classmates.
Know Your Classmates is a tremendous resource for both educators and students alike. I've used it in my classes, both in extracurricular settings and in the classroom since September. And the growth that I've witnessed in my students, in their ability to hold discussions, to talk about topics that are complex, topics like identity, culture, race, the state of our world today. It has left me in awe of not just the capacity of my students, but their ability to articulate the depth of thought, the depth of conviction, and the commitment that they have to making this world a better place, not just for themselves, but for each other. Know Your Classmates facilitates those conversations and allows students to celebrate their identity, their culture, who they are, and why they matter.
And now we're going to tell you about our second of our 3 wraparound curriculum for the school year, No One Eats Alone. It's probably the most personal to me because it is the seeds of how we started Beyond Differences. It was really inspired by the actual experiences of Lily Rachel Smith, our precious daughter who passed away 11 and a half years ago. Lily would call me almost every single day from middle school crying that none of the girls wanted her to eat lunch with them, and she was always eating lunch by herself, wishing that she could whittle away the next 45 minutes and somehow get back to class. You know, as a mother, getting those phone calls every single day broke my heart, and after a while, we just could not watch Lily suffer as much as she was. Today, there's an answer for that. There are thousands of schools across the country that are celebrating National No One Eats Alone Day. And you know, we picked to do it just around Valentine's Day. So that's the day when everyone should come to school feeling like they have a friend.
Most people think of social isolation as a problem primarily affecting older adults. But young people will tell you it's something they experience too.
A middle school can especially be an awkward time, and it can be difficult trying to go and meet new people. It can be hard to know what to say. I mean, sometimes it feels like there's all these social codes that you don't really know.
No One Eats Alone Day was created in 2012 by a nonprofit called Beyond Differences. Their focus is on eliminating social isolation, starting with where it often begins, in middle school. It's an age where kids start to care about fitting in at a time of day that some say is the most isolating.
Lunchtime can feel like an eternity. I mean, I've been there, I know what it's like. So on No One Eats Alone Day, we kind of get everyone together and we play games, we get to know each other.
No One Eats Alone Day is led entirely by the students. High school leaders team up with a local middle school and organize games with the goal of encouraging inclusivity.
We learned that painfully, my husband and I, who co-founded the organization, by watching our daughter go through middle school, and lunch was her worst time.
Experts say social isolation affects more than just a child's mood. It can affect their self-confidence, their health, their grades, and their future. The Surgeon General says 46% of students report feeling isolated every week. Since its launch, No One Eats Alone has grown from 1 school the first year to 2,500 schools throughout the U.S.
I've been exactly where these guys are. I've been a 6th grader who was kind of shy and who was just trying to get the hang of middle school. And like kind of coming back and leading this, it's kind of like moving to me.
I hope this becomes a day-to-day occurrence. I'd love to see children connect with one another and form friendships that last beyond lunch today. And even if that doesn't happen, I bet we made a lot of children feel visible who don't always feel visible. And if that can last, I'll feel so grateful that that's the job we've done.
So Ryan, can you tell me about a time that you saw someone being excluded and what happened?
Well, one time me and my friends were playing and I stopped to look and I see someone's getting excluded, and so I couldn't really hear them, but I could kind of see their movements and gestures. And they said like something like, "This is a two-person game, so I'm sorry, but you can't play."
And what have we learned about from Beyond Differences and No One Needs Alone? Like, what should we do about not excluding people?
Well, I know if you're in that situation, maybe you could tell your friends that we should probably play a different game if this one person wants to play with you. And because then it'll make them much happier.
And do you agree that what Beyond Differences says and No One Needs Alone, this is an opportunity to build new friendships?
Yes, I do. It also, if you come to someone and they want to sit with you and you tell them that they can, that'll probably make them very happy. And usually when you make someone happy, it feels really good.
It really does. So I think that's a really positive thing to think about and what to do next time if you see something happening like that, where someone might be being excluded.
Yeah.
Okay.
No One Needs Alone has had an amazing impact on Sutter Middle School. We have a population of students from foster youth, homeless, special education, to newcomers coming into the country for the very first time and not speaking a word of English. So with No One Needs Alone, we have been able to have students get engaged, to socialize, to feel like they belong, and that is one of our goals. Since putting on these events, and we've been doing this for about 4 years because it is so amazing, our students are connecting with others. Teachers are coming and giving us feedback that students are not sitting by themselves. They see them socializing with others. They see them walking around. And that makes us feel so amazing that our students feel like they have a place, they belong, and thanks to Beyond Differences and No One Needs Alone, we can make that happen.
Incredible work, incredible programs, and those awesome programs by Beyond Differences are the reason we're all gathered here tonight. Good evening, I'm Liam Maitland. I'm honored to be here. I love it when they invite me back. It's my 4th year. Thank you for showing up for us tonight, giving me this opportunity. I do want to let you know I have my own story. Some of you may know it from past years, but I'll share it. When I was just 10 years old and I moved from Ireland to England, I was the kid with the funny accent. And the other kids didn't really want to play with that kid because he was a little different. Yes, he spoke funny. And I felt incredibly isolated and very much alone during that year of my life. But then a teacher introduced me to drama, where I was able to come out of my shell, connect with other students, find myself, find my voice. And that's the work of Beyond Differences. So I know this work, I get this work, and I would not be sitting right here today had I not had that great experience with that one teacher. And it's that very work that Beyond Differences is doing, not just in our backyard here in California, but their programs are showing up in 8,500 plus schools in 50 states across America. It really is incredible. Your giving, your generosity is making this great work happen. You've given in the past. We have lots to do in the future. We have some lofty goals tonight. And so I'm going to thank you in advance for being outrageous and indeed audacious in your giving. Thank you.
Liam, it is so wonderful to be partnering with you once again. I look forward every year to our chance to be together and help raise money for Beyond Differences. So thank you once again for being so fun and so effective. And now it's my great pleasure of introducing the next section of the evening, a conversation, a deeper dive, if you will, between two remarkable human beings. First, Latifah Simon, the Honorable Latifah Simon. Latifah is president of the Akinati Foundation based in Oakland, California. And actually, she and I met many years ago when Latifah worked for now Vice President Kamala Harris when Kamala was District Attorney of San Francisco. But since that time, Latifah has run and been elected twice to the BART Board of Directors. She is a criminal justice advocate. She is a civil rights activist. She is someone that stirs my heart. And two other things you should know. She was the youngest ever MacArthur Genius Award winner, and probably most proudly, the mother of two daughters. I love Latifah, and you will hang on to every word she has to say. In conversation with Latifah, Eddie Garcia, a friend of mine based in Washington, D.C., who is founder and executive director for the Foundation for Social Connection. Eddie has 20 years of public policy and expert advocacy from working on behalf of elder Americans. When we first met, there really was nothing discussed about social isolation as it affected both the elderly population and the youth. We came together, and Eddie and I have had a beautiful partnership ever since. I'm very proud of the work that Eddie is doing to raise the United States' profile around the globe on the issue of social isolation. So we are in for a treat this evening to hear Eddie and Latifah in conversation.
Thank you, Laura. It's so great to be here with you all. Eddie, how you doing?
Hey, Latifah. Good to see you again. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so glad we get to be in conversation together. So here's the deal. There's so many things that we could talk about, but I'm curious, what do you want the supporters of Beyond Differences tonight to know about the impact of social isolation, its effects on adults and young folks and families? What should we be concerned about?
Well, that's the main point, Latifah. What I really want people to understand and what you just said is that these issues affect all populations. It's not just grandmas and grandpas, but it's all generations. It's all walks of life. And the coalition was really founded initially out of the need to address older adults who are focused on, who are impacted by social isolation. But what we're seeing before the pandemic and coming out of it is really younger adults across the globe are impacted at severe rates, again, both before and after the pandemic. And that's why it's so important to us to have organizations like Beyond Differences, led by Laura, to be part of our national and now global efforts. What's clear is that the pandemic has really exacerbated these effects.
Right.
We've seen research coming out again before the pandemic suggesting that up to 70% of young people are impacted by feelings of loneliness, and that's only increased coming out of the pandemic. Recent surveys coming out from Time magazine suggested upwards of 80% for Generation Z, so those kids who are between 18 and 23. That's really mind-boggling for us, and suggests that there really needs to be coordinated approaches to addressing this, again, for all populations. You may be wondering, what does this actually mean on the actual impact for people?
Right.
So what we've seen throughout a large body of research is that social isolation and loneliness are equated to about a 30% increase in premature mortality. It impacts things like cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, dementia, Alzheimer's. It's even comparable to smoking up to 15 cigarettes per day, which is incredible.
Those stats are staggering. I mean, over half the population essentially is in this space. So what can we do about it?
Well, I'm glad you asked. We've actually just released a broad policy platform that we're advocating with Congress and the new administration. 3 big things we're pushing in the space for younger people. How can we support school nurses, social workers, and trained educators to assess risks? Then from there, how can we support the same educators in developing social and emotional learning curricula? And then finally, how can we utilize schools and public places, public spaces for intergenerational intergenerational community centers for this connectivity work?
I mean, those are amazing lunges into what's possible. That's exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to turn around to you. So I'd love to hear more about the work that you've been doing with the Akhenaten Foundation, specifically the So Love What Can Win initiative, so we can hear more about how that impacts and tackles social isolation. Tell me more about it.
I mean, so much of what you talked about, it's during this massive epidemic, but of course prior, that communities need to be together. And we fight racism, we fight homophobia, we fight loneliness and despair by bringing people together in community. With the Akhenaten Foundation, and what's been so great is we're funding organizations and community healers and grandmothers and faith leaders and young people during this time, literally to be in the streets and to be in community and practice community healing. Just yesterday, a group of young women, Black girls, Asian American young women, Latina girls came together to create an altar in love and support in the middle of the lakefront area in Oakland, acknowledging that young women are also deeply isolated and they're lonely and they're suffering and they're being trafficked. If we can come together as community to show each other not only empathy, but love, it equals justice. And that's so much of what Beyond Differences does and why I love this organization. It's making sure that no one is alone.
Latifa, I'm really interested in that work. What do you think we could do to help expand that work and take it nationally?
Well, again, like the reason why I'm here tonight is, meeting Laura, meeting the young people from Beyond Differences. A couple of weeks ago, I went to a rally organized by 7th grade girls in Berkeley, California. There were 1,200 people there. And I've been an organizer my whole adult life. And do you know how difficult it is to get 1,000 people out to think about how we could be better to each other, how we can stop Asian hate? It is young people. They are the voice and the consciousness of our nation. And I think that organizations deeply focused, again, on claiming that this is a real epidemic, not COVID, but isolation, but loneliness. Young people literally sitting in cafeterias alone, the millions of young people who are at home alone right now. I think we invest in leaders who are combating what we haven't dealt with for so long. We have to build community, and that's what Beyond Differences is doing. I love the work that I'm doing, but I'm inspired by these young people during these moments who have been looking into screens for a year, who've decided to step out and combat racism, combat social isolation. They understand so much more than we do. They organize, they come together. And as the pandemic subsides, we will see the benefits of the tens of thousands of young people who are a part of Beyond Differences move the nation. I really feel like that.
Yeah, and I love hearing that. And it's interesting. We are starting to see some action being taken by the Biden administration and by Congress to establish new grants to help support some of the things that you're doing at the Keynote Foundation, and of course what Laura's doing with Beyond Differences. Specifically in the American Rescue Plan, which was passed earlier this year, there were specific grants that are coming out for the National Child Traumatic Stress Network to help prevent youth suicide prevention, pediatric mental health, and a slew of other programs for summer education. Congress is also looking at Mental Health Services Students Act, which would include up to $200 million of competitive grants for public schools to address things like mental health services and social isolation and loneliness. So there is movement, but we need to really raise our voices, I believe, through the work that you're doing and what Beyond Differences is doing to help elevate and continue to beat that drum around this need.
Eddie, learning about your work, I could talk to you all day. You are a practitioner, you're a national and international advocate. And really how I see your work, how I see Beyond Differences work and my work is getting closer to this thing called justice. If our communities can deeply, deeply move together, we're all better. And especially when young people move together, we're healthier and we're safer. It's been great talking to you, and I can't wait to see you in person at some point.
Yeah, me too. I can't wait. It's great to talk to you.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Beyond Differences, for all the work that you all are doing. We appreciate and need you.
Thank you, Latifa and Eddie. We are so grateful for your support and your wisdom. Now, tonight I want to talk to you about a new initiative that's just going to help propel this organization even further. I'm excited to announce tonight that the National Teen Board of Directors will be launched, which is a giant, giant step from our regional model that we currently have. It's in honor of Lily Rachel Smith, the young daughter of Laura and Ace, founders of this extraordinary organization called Beyond Differences. Lily passed away in 2009 at the age of 15. She was an extraordinary individual. And according to one of my friends and one of the world's civil rights icon, Dolores Huerta, she was also a wise soul. Lily was born with a craniofacial syndrome that brought about its own challenges. All she wanted to do was be accepted in school. And even though she had to endure social isolation, she found it within herself to find some strength, some unconditional love, self-confidence to stand up for others. It's our plan to go across this country and recruit young leaders, activists just like Lily, who will be part of our national team board. From New York to Los Angeles, Nashville to Portland, we're going to find activists like Lily who will stand up and champion causes of justice so that everyone in school can feel accepted, loved, and respected. So funds raised tonight will actually help launch the national team board. Together then, we all can recruit, train, and deploy the next generation of leaders in schools, fighting against social isolation. To share a little bit about Lily and how she inspired us all, please welcome spoken word artist Janae Johnson, who wrote an original piece just for tonight's program.
Tell me, how do you magic? I mean, I want to assume each of us knows a trick or two, so I invite you to impress me. No smoke and mirrors, no deception or trickery, but rather, what do you have that we cannot see? Most days, I want to tell you how my magic swallowed splinters for the better part of my life. How I wore my queer, awkward black kid like a numberless jersey, cursed my swollen hips, my blemished skin, felt like an island no one could quite figure out how to access. And back then, we didn't call it social isolation. Couldn't fathom the seriousness around the word anxiety. Didn't attempt to bend our tongue to the language of outsider. How fear can hiss and gnaw at the bottom of a stomach when we have to speak our name aloud, or figure out where to eat our lunch, or walk into any given classroom as our authentic self. I come from a generation of watering silence until it grows roots and blooms insecurity. It's a reminder that when we say social isolation, we don't always mean a bully with a hard shell of an ego and iron fist designed to smash metal lockers. Sometimes we mean the mirror. Sometimes we mean a tasteless inside joke. Sometimes we mean we weren't invited to the party. Sometimes we mean the hush of a clear night sky when we are too alone with our thoughts to admit we are lonely. Sometimes it is no one's fault, and it is everyone's responsibility. And sometimes what we need most in this world is an imperfect yet timely hello. I see you. Would you like to join me? So tell me, how do you magic? And I will tell you about Lily Rachel Smith, who by all accounts was her own sorcery, source of joy. Rumor has it she could unhinge a closed mouth and curl it into a half smile with very little effort. Lily, girl with purpose, friend with enough velocity to move time just for you, expert on holding people's stories like a bruised knee, wanting to know everything about you so she could serve a better world for you, daughter with a timely heart, sister with an infectious laugh. Here, we continue to honor a legacy not built around what Lily overcame, but what she gave in spite of Apert syndrome and teachers who didn't believe she could learn, in spite of eating lunches in the restroom and wondering whether or not she was worthy. Instead, Lily ignited a movement, moved us to a spirit of radical kindness even 10 years later, because no one should ever be made to feel like they are an island, like they are too small or insignificant or difficult to get to. So I guess when I say magic, what I mean is, here we are with all of this power, with this new language bending our tongue, with this ability to transform each other's experience. So how do you magic? How do you gift people the power of yourself and allow them to do the same? How do you find all the islands amongst you and attempt to build a bridge? You know, sometimes magic is about swallowing your own social anxiety. And other times magic is as simple as an imperfect yet timely hello. I see you. Would you like to join me? Here we are with all of this power. So I invite you to impress me.
Thank you all so much for your generosity. We are blown away by your confidence in us. And I promise you, you have just invested in one of the most effective, even if we're small, organizations across the country. Every dollar you have just donated will go to good use for our National Teen Board. And I can't wait to share with you how successful we are. So now it's the time of the evening where we're going to bring you our third and final school initiative, Be Kind Online. This is one that probably equalizes all children, no matter where they're growing up in our country. Why? Because I heard a horrifying statistic today that children are spending up to 7 hours looking at screens. And I have a feeling it's not zooming into their classroom. I have a feeling it's gaming, social media, and texting with their friends. So what can we do about it? We're not going to tell kids to put their phones away. That is not going to happen anymore. But what we can do is to help teachers and their children put screen time to positive use. How do we help children identify social isolation online? How do we help children become more positively engaged with making everyone feel included? And how do we train children to become activists so that we are leading the country and one another in putting screen time to good use? I think you're going to enjoy listening and learning about our third and final program, Be Kind Online.
Hi, I'm Cece, and I pledge to be kind online by being an upstander and sticking up for others.
I pledge to be kind online by sticking up for people who are being unfairly treated.
I pledge to be kind online by acknowledging that there is always somebody behind the screen.
By remembering that I can make a change through my online voice.
By assuming positive intent when I'm unsure what a comment means.
By reporting people that are not being nice.
By acknowledging there's more to a person than the number of likes they get online.
By sending nice and kind things to people online and on social media.
I'm Ashling Swain.
I'm Colton Berger.
Leo Rollins.
Alex. I'm Omri.
I'm Clara.
I'm Austin.
Jack Ray.
Kiara Gulati, and I pledge to be kind online.
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 By being authentic and positive on social media. By reporting harassment or bullying.
By creating gaming communities.
Being an activist and posting what I believe in.
Hi, my name is Peyton, and I pledge to be kind online by spreading only positive comments and being my authentic self.
Hey everybody, my name is Alex, and I've been a Beyond Differences Teen Board member for 4 years now. Be Kind Online is a really special Beyond Differences initiative. Unlike other initiatives like Know Your Classmates Day, Be Kind Online focuses on our social interactions through the internet. Oftentimes, it's really easy to get swept up in a different personality that's not true to your own character online. And Be Kind Online does a great job of not only educating, but promoting positive social interactions online. The program is really special in the sense that it's tackled the issue in a way that I've seen no other program do, especially with COVID-19 and more people interacting digitally more than ever before. It's really important to not only educate, but to promote those kind and loving and supportive social interactions that should happen on the internet. As a high school senior, communicating with proper email etiquette has worked wonders thanks to Be Kind Online, and it's just those small, simple things that really transform me as a person. So it's a fantastic program.
I'm a school counselor at Chief Canham Middle School in the greater Seattle area, and I can say that Be Kind Online is a great program. This is our second year implementing the program at our school, and we're loving the curriculum. I am in charge of advisory, which is bringing SEL curriculum to our students every week to build a more inclusive environment. And the bullying that it addressed and the social media, the negativity it tries to combat, definitely is getting through to our students. And it's great to hear from the students every week and just how these lessons are working for them and how they're finding them interesting and that they are being better people online. They are being more positive to their peers. It's definitely working. And we encourage all of you to support the Beyond Differences organization in the great work they are doing.
We love Beyond Differences at Leyva Middle School. It's been such a powerful tool and resource for us over the last few years. Our students need direct support, need direct attention, they need direct strategies for it, and Beyond Differences brings that for us. Beyond Differences is more than just a curriculum. I really do believe that they're a partner to us. There's someone that are working on the same things that we're working on every day, something that I can't go without at Leyva Middle School.
Liam, thank you once again. You have done an extraordinary job in making everyone feel great about donating to Beyond Differences. And I promise all of you who have donated dollars this evening that we will put your money to good work. We will invest in our National Teen Board. We will share with you the results, and we will create an even larger movement all across the country for students who are aiming to end social isolation. So this is the part where I get to say goodbye. You know, first and foremost, most people say to me, did you ever imagine that you would be here 12 years later, still growing and still passionately working on behalf of Beyond Differences and to end social isolation? And the answer is no, I never did. But then again, when Lily guided me and Lily inspired me and Lily still is a force within me, I feel like there is nothing else that I could do except dedicate my life to this issue. You may not have known Lily, but through Janae's gorgeous poem, maybe you do feel like you know her a little bit now, and you may feel really glad that you've met her. I wish I could have shared her with every single one of you. But for tonight, really it is about my husband, Ace Smith, my co-pilot, my partner, my husband of almost 35 years, who painfully and determinedly started Beyond Differences with me. Ace has been lockstep every point of the way over the past 12 years. I'm so proud and I love him so much. And while he may be embarrassed listening to this, I just want him to know publicly how much I care and appreciate him as my partner. And I want to thank each and every one of you this evening. There are too many of us who spoke, presented, performed, and just inspired us. But you'll see the credits rolling, and at some point, you'll walk away and you'll think about all the ways in which we hope we've opened your hearts and opened your minds to the problem of social isolation, but to the cure, to the fact that we can end this together, that we have created a movement and we're not going to stop until every child goes to school feeling accepted, included, valued, and respected by their peers. Thank you and good night.
Longer, we're weak but getting stronger. I know it's taking a time to heal. We'll be unstoppable. I don't know what I did it for, but I needed to know